developing systems within a system. We have to start being able to structure our money, making sure that we put every dollar where it needs to go at. So I'm gonna sit and tell y'all what usually happens with certain households. All right. Most households don't manage their resources well. And this is why you have a lot of relationships and shit that don't work out. Because people have different financial disciplines and shit. And they have not sat down and had talks about, I'm talking about just a household, period. If you got family living in a household, they don't sit down and have shop talks about how money is going to be delegated, who's going to handle, to run a household is like how you run a fucking fire team. You understand what I'm saying? How you run a team of men. Ain't no difference, you know what I'm saying, than you run a basketball team when you run a household. It's a lot of different things that we could actually stop a lot of bullshit with people getting put out and all that other shit if we was to come together and work as a team. It could be done. I mean, I came up in the 70s and then the 80s, the 90s, where we lived in one big ass household. And all the active adults who were working came together and put their money together, and we survived together, which made life a lot easier. And then when certain individuals got their money up, then you move out. You know what I'm saying? Back when I left home, I would say I left home. The first time I left home, I left with $3,500 in my pocket. $3,500 in my pocket. I took that and got my first basement apartment with one of my partners. $3,500 in my pocket that I saved up from cooking seafood. And I got my first basement apartment. I had been about 16 years old. This is back in the day where I think rent was like, no, not the rent, but hey, what's going on, James? I think the pay grade the hourly wage was like $5.15 an hour, yo. Back then. We moved into a basement apartment. The rent was $325. Now, that may be cheap. I mean, that was a little expensive back in the day. That was a little expensive back in the day because minimum wage was $5.15 an hour. So $325, that was like kind of somewhat half, about 40% of your pay or whatever. But okay, cool. It was my first basement apartment. Well, our first basement apartment. And we was living it up like shit as teenagers. But I tell you this. I was working at the hell I just joined into. No, we talk about creating different systems. That's what you just joined into. How to make your money, that you already got, and how to manage it to where as though you can protect yourself with it through this fucked up ass time in the economy. That's what you stumbled into. But I'm just telling the story on when I got my first place. Anyway, minimum wage at that particular time was $5.15 an hour. I worked and I made about $625, maybe $700. I got 2 paychecks, got paid every 2 weeks. Plus, I was doing a little hustling on the side. So, hey, what's going on? So I came off kind of pretty good. I had my rent. And then back then, I worked in the kitchen. So I didn't have to worry about no fucking food. You know what I'm saying? All I had to do was just come up with money for the rent. You know what I'm saying? And I spent the first 4 months paying the rent up. The first 4 months paying the rent up. I mean, we went to work every day. We worked for the University of Maryland, by the way. University of Maryland in College Park, University of Maryland here in College Park, Maryland, in PG County. You know what I'm saying? In the DMV, we what's your name? We worked at the dining hall, and I worked 7 days a week. See, this when I was young, and this when I had the fire underneath my ass because I was on my own. So I had a daughter to take care of too at that particular time. So I was working. I was working and doing all kinds of shit. But I say that to say that we came together, we paid the rent. You know, we kept that place for about 2.5 years. 2.5 years by actually paying the rent up. You know, and in college we used to do that. We used to pay for our meals and shit. You would go down to the Mitchell building and you would pay for your whole motherfucking like food, room, and board for the semester for 6 months. We the only motherfuckers now who out in the workforce that don't tend to do that shit now. If you want to secure your position and want to become recession proof, stop sitting on the fucking money and pay the bills. They're going to take that shit anyway. You can't owe forever. And nobody actually talks about this shit. You can't owe forever. If you put the money where it needs to go at, you know what I'm saying, your money will turn around for you. You do your car insurance. If you could pay, and like I said earlier on the other live, if you could sit there and pay a fucking car note, they come out to you and say, hey, we want you to pay $499 for 72 months, and you motherfuckers pay $499 for 72 months plus insurance. Then you can take that same money and turn around and pay the fucking rent up before you even get the goddamn car and buy a used goddamn car. I'm talking about that type of thinking where you weaponizing your fucking money. And people talk about that they want more money. You know what I'm saying? How could you have more money and you can't even manage the shit that you got now? And niggas is crying now. You got to manage every dollar. I talk about how you have to make sure that you use coupons, cut them fucking coupons out, buy shit in bulk, count everything in the house, do the inventory. This is how this shit start. How can you be a dope ass hustler and you can't even manage your house correctly? We talking shop here. We talking money here. How could you take $20 and stretch that $20? And this is for grown ass people. How can you stretch $20? If you can't stretch $20, if I gave you $200,000, how would you manage it? What would you do with it? How would you make it produce something? Financial literacy is a big ass problem in the community. And it ain't just the black community. It's other different communities of races of people that don't have their shit together neither. Yeah, pay off all your debts. Hell yeah. But see, after you pay off all your debts, it don't even stop there, because the more money you make, the more shelters you got to build for that shit. So where you going to put it at? You got to create a system. You have to create shelters for your money. It's kind of like how beavers build dams. You got to create shelters for your money. This is a discussion that us as Americans have to fucking talk about, man. And it's not being brought up. And motherfuckers ain't teaching their kids certain shit. I remember I used to hustle. I used to pump gas when I was young. I used to pump gas, make my little 1s and 2s and 50 cents and shit like that. And I used to save that money and give that shit to my grandmother so she could pay the rent. I'm talking about going back that far. Now that I'm an older man, right? Niggas talk about they need all this motherfucking money. Let me tell you something. I done survived off of $15,000 a year and done saved more money than the average person that make a high-end 6 figures. Straight up and down. Because I didn't indulge. I knew what I was working with, and I had to put my money where it was most effective. That's all I'm saying. How in the fuck, you know what I'm saying, that you make $100,000 a year and your ass is still broke? And why is it that I make less than you and I save more than you? I don't understand that. People done bought $2,000 to $3,000 or $100,000 in cars. The same money you spend on them goddamn cars, you could have invested that money. Because after you pay all the bills up, then what do you do? Somebody tell me, what do you do? And I'm saying that because we need to know where people's brains is, far as how the way that they handle their business. What do you do? What do you do when you pay all the bills up? Now you got to start building shelters and tiers for your money. And the more money you make, the more the tax bracket and the tax rules change. So now what do you do? You making $300,000 and some thousand a year. What do you do with that money? What do you do with it? Now you got everything that you want. Tell me why you got all these suckers that's getting all this money, from athletes to musicians, and they end up broke in a matter of 5-6 years. Why? Why? I make way less than they do. Less. But I've invested into more. The economy is made for money to circulate. That's what it's made for. You get it and throw the shit back into circulation. The system is designed to attack anybody that's not feeding the economy. This is why they be on motherfuckers' asses. Why is you sitting on that shit? The main value is the time and the sweat equity. Just to let it be known. Your money is supposed to protect you, not be going against you. As soon as I get paid, I put the money back into circulation. I don't sit on shit. This is what keep you recession proof. This is what keep you inflation proof. Because if you're good on inventory, you don't have to keep running back to the store. So whatever other goods that cost, it's not affecting you. It's about goods and services at the end of the day. When everybody was outside running, stealing toilet tissue and all that other shit, my house was already packed. My mother's house and my house was already packed. Because I did the inventory. You're supposed to do inventory every other week or every week. Every other week or every week. This is the shit that I'm talking about. All you bitches out there that's dancing and sucking dick and doing all this shit and working in them clubs and doing all that and getting 4,000 or 5,000 bands, you know what I'm saying? Bitch, one day you got to get old. One day you got to get old. All that money that you young bitches is getting now, one day, bitch, you going to be 65 years old. What the fuck are you going to do with that money? I'm not telling people on here how to get rich. I'm telling them how to manage their shit. How you actually manage it to keep what you got going. You have to put a system in place, and you have to build a system within a system in place with that shit. I don't give a fuck if you was getting paid $1,000 a month. How can you work that 1,000? This is the type of critical thinking that people don't want to do. But y'all walk and talk like y'all got y'all shit together. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Period. You don't have to subject yourself to any type of fucking getting put out or nothing like that. If you do what you need to do first. You got to do what financially makes sense. If you got to come together, then come together. And then, when you do come together, if you don't want to stay together for a long period of time, come together, y'all work, save up the money, get enough capital where you can go out on your own, and then go out on your own after that. But you have to be strategic about it. You just can't have, you can't, if I had wings, I would fly. Let me contemplate. You can't throw that shit. You cannot throw that shit in the air. You got to sit down and do the motherfucking math annually. I'm going to tell you how dumb motherfuckers is. A motherfucker will make $45,000 a year and go buy a $65,000 car. And think because, I make money, I get paid, I'm going to go ahead, I can be able to finance it and pay it off. Fuck no. There's no fucking math. The math don't add up. There's no way you can make $45,000 a year, buy a $65,000 car, plus not include the interest. That shit will swallow your salary. If the first time you miss something or the first time you can't even pay the car note or whatever, it's designed to keep the debt snowballing. There's no way you're going to be able to catch up with that when that happens. But if you buy a used car, then that's something different. Because see, now you can afford to keep it running, even if it breaks down. This is the type of critical thinking that I'm talking about. People don't walk through their house, man, and really count up all the seasonings and really count up all the cans of food that they got and count up all the meats and shit like that. But if you work for Giant, if you go to your job, you do it at your job, you don't do it at your house. We talking about managing your home. How is it that you talk about you want more money and you can't even manage your household? And your household is no different than a motherfucking business. You can't manage your household. Why the fuck are you late on your telephone bills? If you a good person that manages money, your ass won't be in debt. And this goes out to a lot of females too, because a lot of females don't want to deal with that shit because them bitches want to do what they want to do. And this is why I can't understand this. The whole world is at your motherfucking feet and you bitches are still in debt. I don't understand that. Eating shrimp and lobster and wine and all that other shit, when you need to build a certain system with your money, so that way your money can protect you. You still have to look at certain things with what you can do and what you can't do. And if you can't do it, don't do it. And stop showing off for other people, because it's your responsibility to hold that shit down. That's it. If you can't manage your house, what the fuck make you think you can manage a business? People don't talk about how they got out of debt. You have to develop a system to get out of debt. So you develop a system within the system. If anybody on here, say something, type in something. Let's talk about it. Motherfuckers, real hustlers or whatever. Look at all the drug dealers in the 80s that are just now coming home. Some made money, some. Some kept some money. Some invested in the assets while they went to prison. Millions of dollars. And them niggas was stupid. They didn't buy or invest into anything at all. And then the shit that they invested into ain't worth shit. The best thing that you could ever invest into is another human being. I could take $1,000 and I could hire 5 men and rent their time for a couple of hours and get some shit done. Remember that. I could take $1,000 and go work on a $15,000 project and pay those guys that money for a few hours and we can get some shit done. It's all on people's way of thinking. Becoming an operator, operating, keeping the military mind, making sure that every dollar is accounted for. whether it be $20 or $200. Bitch gonna say $200 ain't no money. Man, fuck you. Say that to a nigga in jail. $200, if you know how to use it right, trust and believe you me, you could do a lot with that shit. But this goes to show you that people mentalities ain't shit. People's mentalities ain't shit. Because if you know the value of money, you'll know where to put that shit at. You'll know where to put it at. Everybody has to pay to live. So if everybody got to pay to live, wouldn't it make sense to make sure that you always keep the money in circulation so that way that you can live, so that way that we can have movement? We are all a part of the economy. Most people who are out on the street decided that they didn't want to pay into the system no more. This is why they're fucked up. It's going to happen. When you don't engage into the system anymore, the system will swallow your ass. That's it. But if you paying into the system and you building a system within the system, ain't no difference than, how can I say, a tumor that gets into the vessel, or you got a bacteria that's inside the body that adds on to the host, but it doesn't kill the host. It enhances the host, so that way it makes it, you know, where it can survive. That's how you got to do in the economical system. You have to build the economical ecosystem within this system, or that's separate from this system, but that can survive in this system. And if you understand what I'm talking about, if you understand money, then you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know, usually a lot of people, you had cats that had millions and millions of dollars. They just didn't know what the fuck to do with it. They didn't know what to do with it. You know, they didn't know what shelters to build or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's only but so much money that you're going to have before certain, how can I say, power structures come knocking at the door, because now you got enough money that could kind of move some neighborhoods or some states and shit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have shelters for it. You definitely have to have shelters for it. Now, I've seen guys, you know, I remember Warren Buffett had said one day, I think it was a question that was asked to him. He said that, what you rather have? Would you rather have more businesses or more money? He said he'd rather have more businesses. When I first heard that, I was like, well, why the fuck would he say that? But when I started doing my own research, I understand why he says that now. He'd rather have more businesses. You know what I'm saying? You want to invest more. Asset-wise, you want to put your money into things and you want to keep your money working. You understand what I'm saying? This is how your business grows. You put your money, you circulate your money back into what you're doing. So if you're taking care of your household, you circulate your money back into your household. That's what you do. That's what you do. You make a certain amount, you pay the rent, you pay him for a place to stay at, you do your inventory, you got a roof over your head. That's what the fuck you paying for. And if you always pay the rent, then you will always have a roof over your head. I'm going to say it again. If you always pay the rent, then you will always have a roof over your head. When you stop paying your rent, you will not have a roof over your head. That shit is basic fucking math, yo. It's basic fucking math. You got to buy food. This shit is mandatory. You got to pay for life. Shit is mandatory. You have to pay for the phone. Shit is mandatory. You have to work in order to obtain these things. That's it. That's how the way that the system goes. Now, if you pay into these things, you could pay them up. And now your money is working for you. And we call that inventory profit. Where you see profits on the back end of your own money. But people don't understand that. Inventory profit. People don't understand what sweat equity is. You could start off with a little measly job and you could internally flip that money over time like you do with the stocks. I started off washing dishes, bagging up food, flipping my money every year. This is what you do. Because money accumulates itself when it gets to a certain point. And this is what people don't understand. And it's been right in front of our face the whole goddamn time. The only reason why people been suffering and doing all that other bullshit is because they get all this money, and guess what it goes to? A lot of money went to entertainment. A lot of money went to entertainment. That's what happened. A lot of money went to entertainment. A lot of money went to hoes. A lot of money went to bottles of champagne and shit, showing off for bitches. A lot of money went to that. Did they put the money back into the community? Do you know what happens when you take $300 million and you put it back into the community? Fuck that. I ain't even going to go as far as saying $300 million. Just $130,000. You can make a difference. You can make a difference in a 10-mile radius. The economical fluctuation of that area will feel that if you was to apply those dollars in the correct way. And it could be through just promoting, it could be just through marketing, how can I say, you could market a business that you might be doing, where you may be a restaurant, or you may have a cleaning service. But if you advertise and you constantly around there giving services within a 10-mile radius, you know what I'm saying, and you putting sweat equity in and all of that, look up the word sweat equity and you'll see what I'm talking about. We got the AI now, so look that shit up. Yo, you could potentially create a self-contained ecosystem. I'm talking about a self-contained financial ecosystem. Let's break it down to the bare minimums. Rent, lights, phone, food, mobility. Everything else is extra. And I say mobility because you have to go to work. You got to get to and from work. What other else? I'm trying to understand how motherfuckers doing bad, for real. Because you can't go on the 4 or 5 trips that you want to go on. You can save up and put that shit in the savings account and save up for that. Nobody should be doing anything if you can't pay your rent up for 3 months at a time or 4 months at a time. 50% of everything that you make every year, I wouldn't give a fuck what it was. If it's $10, half of that shit need to go towards your priorities first. Period. This is how you stop yourself from being in trouble, and this is how you have security for yourself. This is how you cover your back door. Pause. This is how you cover yourself. Your money is meant to protect you, not going against you. So you got to take the money that you got. Are you managing your funds correctly? The money that you already have, fuck getting more. Because if you can't manage the shit you got now, you will kill yourself with the more that you do get. So it's all about financial discipline. It's all about financial organization if you're putting every dollar where it needs to go at, yo. And this is the talks that we need to have. Our babies out here, these youngins out here, they don't know shit. And the system going to swallow their ass. They're going to become casualties like shit. So it's on us to actually tell them that we have to build a system within the system. Each household has a different financial system. As long as it's a system that can actually survive within this financial system. The world as we know it is different now. We got different currencies coming in. Don't forget we got the BRIC shit going on. You understand what I'm saying? They rolling in with this cryptocurrency shit. So a lot of things y'all have to start putting money into and investing into, you know, and of course, so that way that you have money later. You got to think about the you 15 years from now. Some of us that are hitting our 50s have to think about what the fuck we going to have in our 70s. And the same thing with the motherfuckers in their 30s or the motherfuckers that's in their 20s. Got to think about the motherfuckers when they hit 30 or 40. If you can pay a car note, then you can pay your savings account. You know what I'm saying? Then you can invest into something that's gonna make you money. If you can sit there and pay a car note every motherfucking month to look good in your vehicle, then you could actually take that same amount of money and you could actually pay and invest into yourself. You know what I'm saying? $200-300 a month. You could do that. Today's topic today is about creating a system within a system. Creating a system within a system financially. So invest into the household, pay the household up first, and then move. Don't sit on no money. There's no need for you to sit on it. As soon as it comes in, pay that phone bill up again. Because you got more money that's going to come in because your work rate hasn't changed. And then you keep on paying stuff up and paying stuff down until things are completed. To where as though you ain't got to pay shit no more. For those who actually don't have to pay in the system anymore, is for those who, and this is why you got retirement, because they paid into the system. But see, you can make your own system that coexists with this system. And now your money is working for you. It's no longer working against you. That's what motherfuckers need to pay attention to. Not some quick ass get rich quick scheme. It's all about money management. That's the most important thing. Because money always goes. How you manage it is what make you that motherfucker, and will make you the king of whatever you're doing. If you are a good money manager, you will go far in this capitalist system. Trust me. If you're not, this shit will swallow your ass. And on that note, we at 32 minutes. This is Lee Majors on building a system within a system financially, and I'm out. Peace and love, y'all.